Based on your experiences, can I be sure that you are the right person to take care of my daughters? It was with this phrase that I was greeted in this house, and here I am questioning what I did wrong all this time. Sometimes I prefer to believe that some people are just destined to succeed in life, and that was simply not my case. To help you understand my situation better, I need to say that for a good part of my life, I took several vocational courses hoping to use them in the future, but as you can imagine, none of it worked out. Maybe the problem was my personality or who knows what. The fact is, even though I tried to learn a little something every day, I ended up getting lost. I didn't fit in math classes or even humanities classes. After several failed attempts to adapt to the demands of adult life, I ended up giving up on everything. In the meantime, I found temporary jobs to occupy myself, boost my self-esteem, and not be labeled as just another burden in society. It was then that I found a temporary job as a nanny in the neighboring town, with my focus solely on money. I unlocked my phone to the designated location and was greeted by a somewhat smiling old lady who hugged me. After saying generic things, she did something strangely at the same time. At that moment, I felt a strange sensation, like a sudden dizziness. Then everything went dark. When I got up disoriented, I was surprised to find myself trapped inside that damn old lady's house. Instead of finding children, as she had posted on the internet, I found a variety of dolls strategically positioned on the living room sofa. On the table in front of me was a paper containing a list of rules, which, according to its first sentences, should be followed if I cared about my life's integrity. They said, Rule number 1. Do not question how you ended up in my house. You just woke up here because you were chosen to take care of my daughters. If you disobey this rule, you risk making them think you didn't like our house. So behave. Rule number 2. You will wake up at 7 a.m., and your departure will only happen tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Rule number 3. I have 7 daughters. I repeat, I have a total of 7 dolls that I consider my beloved daughters. If you notice that one of them is missing, call her name, and she will return within an hour. Rule number 4. The names of my dolls are Esther, Helen, Rebecca, Lisa, Tina, Pia, and Alice. Do not call them by any other name, especially unwanted nicknames. If they feel disappointed, they will try to find you after you leave here. Rule number 5. All my daughters have brown or blonde hair with green eyes. If you notice the presence of a doll with red eyes, it is the intruder, as I usually call her. If you hear a strange sound, do not look away. The stranger should not be able to harm you if you follow rule number 8, which I will explain shortly. Rule number 6. First, make sure it really is a stranger. Sometimes my dolls like to play tricks to scare visitors and may end up confusing the doll I am referring to as one similar to a porcelain doll. She has very realistic features, but her eyes may look weird because they are extremely red and disturbing. Her clothes also change a lot and can even change while you are looking away or blinking, so pay attention to details. If you check and realize it is not the stranger, say out loud, "The dolls played a funny joke on me. You really got me. Good job, guys." Rule number 8. If you check and verify that it is the stranger, run to the bathroom and get 8 red candles from under the sink as fast as possible. Then return to where the intruder doll appeared before she finds you. Place 7 candles positioned in a circle, leaving the remaining candle in the center of the circle. After doing this, place my dolls sitting behind each of the 7 candles strategically outside the circle. Also, remember to stay outside the circle the whole time. Once all my daughters are positioned, light the candles and only now start praying to your God. The dolls will stand up and start whispering an unrecognizable song. They know what needs to be done. Do not interrupt them. 2 things can happen at this moment. Either the doll with red eyes will be dragged to the 8th candle and banished from the house for the next 24 hours, or she will go to the 8th candle and take her full form. If this happens, she will reach her full power and it will be too late. Rule number 9. To prevent the intruder with red eyes from entering the house, make good friends with my beloved dolls. After all, they don't want you here either. Of course, the damage that may happen to them will be few compared to what can happen to you, so make sure they like your presence. My dolls can help keep you safe, so treat them well. Comb their hair, change their clothes, and take them for tea. Rule number 10. I have all the craft materials you can imagine in the middle room. There are things to knit, and even knit if you insist on having my dolls help during this time inside the house. Make sure to use your basic craft knowledge to make good use of the items available in the room. Take care of making a gift for each of my daughters, whether it's a piece of clothing, a decoration for their rooms, or anything else. You have only about 45 minutes to make 7 gifts, no matter how big or small they are. Give them all a present by 3 p.m. Then make another for each of them and hide it in a gift box to be delivered before your departure tomorrow. Rule number 11. At 4:30 p.m., start preparing dinner for the dolls. I have a recipe book next to the microwave that includes all their favorite foods. Whether you are good at cooking or not, follow the book steps, and they will love it. Dinner will be served exactly like this in the afternoon. Put the recommended amount by the book in 7 dishes. After that, you will notice that there is 1 portion left over. This always happens, but it is not for you. Remember never to eat it. Go outside and burn the rest at the bonfire outside the house. It may seem strange, but it serves exactly for situations like this. Rule number 13. At 5:15, neither before nor after, call all the dolls by name and inform them that dinner is ready. Sit in the corner of the table, close your eyes, and wait for all of them to be in their proper places. As soon as you hear the sound of the chairs moving, open your eyes again. Do not question how they got to the chairs. Everything will be confusing in your head, but it is better to be ignorant in situations like these. When all are positioned for dinner, a plate of food will appear in front of you. Feel free to eat this if it is meatloaf. I hope you don't mind eating with bad intentions. Rule number 14. When everyone, including you, finishes eating, say that they are welcome to leave whenever they want. Never say they are dismissed. My daughters do not like to leave the table without permission. As soon as you say that, all the dolls will leave the room, including the intruder if it is present. Close your eyes and count to 100, then open them again. If everything is in place and you notice that all the dolls are in their respective places, you may consider yourself safe. If not, go to your room and lock the door. Do not leave until 7 a.m. the next day. The dolls will try to get you to leave the room, but do not listen to their voices. They will try to confuse you. If you manage to stay in your room until morning, everything will be fine. I hope you enjoy your stay. As soon as I read the rules, I tried to get up from the sofa to leave the place, but I couldn't. It was like an invisible force was holding me back. I tried to scream, but no sound came out of my mouth. Panic took over me, and I felt like I was going to pass out at any moment. After what seemed like an eternity, I felt a presence behind me. I turned slowly and saw a doll with green eyes staring at me. It was sitting on a small chair, motionless, as if waiting for something. I tried to move away, but I couldn't. The doll's eyes seemed to follow me, and I felt a chill down my spine. I knew I had to follow the rules if I wanted to survive. I tried to calm myself down and remember the instructions. I called the doll by the name written on the paper, Esther. To my surprise, the doll blinked and turned its head towards me. I felt a wave of relief wash over me as I realized that the rules were real. I spent the rest of the day following the instructions, taking care of the dolls and trying to stay calm. Every now and then, I would hear strange noises coming from the other rooms, but I tried to ignore them. As the night approached, I felt a sense of dread creeping over me. I knew that I had to be extra careful now that darkness had fallen. I followed the rules to the letter, making sure to keep an eye out for any signs of the intruder. I was relieved when morning came, and I was finally able to leave the house. As I stepped outside, I felt a sense of freedom like never before. Looking back, I realized that I had survived a nightmare that I never thought possible. I learned that sometimes the most terrifying things can be real, and that survival depends on following the rules, no matter how strange they may seem.